Article 4. Whether essence and being are the same in God. We proceed thus to the fourth article. It seems that essence and being, esse, are not the same in God. Objection 1. For if this is so, then the divine being has nothing added to it. Now being to which no addition is made is being in general, which is predicated of all things. Therefore, it follows that God is being in general, predictable of everything, or predicable of everything. But this is false, for men gave the incommunicable name to stones and wood. Wisdom, chapter 14, verse 21. Therefore, God's being is not his essence. Objection 2. Further, we can know whether God exists, as said above, question 2, article 2. But we cannot know what he is. Therefore, God's being is not the same as his essence, that is, as his quiddity or nature. On the contrary, Hilary says, Trinity, I think 8. In God, existence is not an accidental quality, but subsisting truth. Therefore, what subsists in God is his own being. I answer that God is not only his own essence, as shown in the preceding article, but also his own being. This may be shown in several ways. First, whatever a thing has besides its essence must be caused either by the principles of that essence, like an accident properly consequent upon the species, as the faculty of laughing is proper to a man and caused by the essential principles of the species, or by some exterior agent, as heat is caused in water by fire. Therefore, if the being itself of a thing differs from its essence, the being of that thing must be caused either by some exterior agent or by its essential principles. Now, it is impossible for a thing's being to be caused by its essential principles, for nothing can be the sufficient cause of its own being if its being is caused. Therefore, that thing whose being differs from its essence must have its being caused by another. But this cannot be said of God, because we call God the first efficient cause. Therefore, it is impossible that in God his being should differ from his essence. Secondly, being in the actuality of every form or nature, for goodness or humanity, are spoken of as actual, only because they are spoken of as being. Therefore, being must be compared to essence, if the latter is distinct from the former, as act to potency. Therefore, since in God there is no potentiality, as shown above in Article 1, it follows that in him essence does not differ from his being. Therefore, his essence is his being. Thirdly, because just as that which has fire, but is not itself fire, is on fire by participation, so that which has being, but is not being, is a being by participation. But God is his own essence, as shown above, Article 3. If therefore he is not his own being, he will not be essential, but participated being. He will not therefore be the first being, which is absurd. Therefore God is his own being, and not merely his own essence. Reply to Objection 1. A thing that has nothing added to it can be understood in two ways. Either its notion precludes any addition, Thus, for example, it is of the notion of an irrational animal to be without reason, or we may understand a thing to have nothing added to it, because its notion does not require that anything should be added to it. Thus, animal in general is without reason, because it is not of the notion of animal in general to have reason, but neither is it to lack reason. And so the divine being has nothing added to it in the first sense, but being in general has nothing added to it in the second sense. Reply to objection 2. To be can mean either of two things. It may mean the act of being, or it may mean the composition of a proposition affected by the mind in joining a predicate to a subject. Taking to be in the first sense, we cannot understand God being nor his essence, but only in the second sense. We know that this proposition which we form about God when we say God is true, and this we know from his effects. Question 2, Article 2.